All right, we are live, I think, and just I'm not, I don't have any music intros or anything, but we're getting all that together. So this actually is an excerpt from the shot at W1AW, kind of relevant to some of the stuff we're going to be talking about tonight. And also, I'm going to put on this one, and this is going to be a little bit relevant. Here we have the Sussex County Hamfest in Sussex County, New Jersey, which is where I live actually, and I'm quite astounded at how the fairgrounds has basically put solar panels on all of these buildings in the fairgrounds, like all of the barns. It's just shocking that they've gone full hog into alternative energy, which could pose some challenges and some interesting possibilities for us. One of the things I'm going to talk about as well too. Kat's going to be on a little later. She's a little tied up, but we're still going to start with the news, and we got a lot of interesting ones. So let's start the show. All right, I am Ria N2RJ, and welcome to the shack. You can see here I'm cozy in my shack, and my computer is misbehaving with iCloud and all sorts of stuff. It's a PC. I don't need iCloud for that. I have my Flex radio going in the background there. And good evening to our very fine regulars here. Thank you very much, and we thank you for your support of the channel. So how this show is going to work is we are going to have it alternate on my channel and Kat's channel. And basically it's going to be where I have it one week and she has it another week. And this is Two Chicks in a Radio. So welcome to Two Chicks in a Radio. Okay. All right. So just want to go through the formalities here. We talk about ham radio, we talk about tech topics, we talk about shortwave, we talk about a lot of other radio stuff, and anything else that's interesting, life in general. We're not just going to limit ourselves to a few things, but we're focused on radio because we love radio. It's an interesting thing that the word in other languages, like for example in Spanish, they called radio amateurs radio aficionado, which means basically lovers of radio. And then you have radio afición, and even the word radio amateur, radio amador is radio amateur is a lover of radio. So somebody who loves radio and does it for the love of it and the fun of it is a radio amateur. So that's a little bit of history and language for you. But first, let's get on to the news. So in this bit of news, I want to share a bit of a sort of how should I put it? An open letter by a prominent shortwave broadcaster. Now, I'm not taking a side and opinion on this, right? I want to make it absolutely clear that I am not having an opinion in this. I'm just presenting a viewpoint because I've gotten private messages with other viewpoints regarding this issue. So many of you who listen to the shortwaves know Alan Weiner. So Alan Weiner is a very famous shortwave broadcaster, and he actually started out as a pirate broadcaster, which you might not know. So right now he owns radio station WBCQ shortwave, which is amazingly powerful, and they've gotten really they've become, I think, America's #1 shortwave broadcaster right now. They are a force to contend with on the airwaves. And, they're constantly expanding. So Alan Weiner, from his humble beginnings as a pirate radio broadcaster, he always was interested in the concept of free speech. And I've followed him since like the 1990s, where he was actually leasing time on WWCR shortwave worldwide Christian radio. And for his radio program. Also involved in that set is Timtron, WA1HLR, who is a big-time AM guy, and he refurbishes AM transmitters, and he even did one for the league, W1AW, for W1HQ, I believe, and they use it in the AM rally. So, it's it's a real interesting thing with Alan Weiner. Now, the thing is, you have to understand the shortwave landscape is an acquired taste. It's not something where, you're going to go and agree with it. So somebody said, that free speech, the notion of free speech was meant to protect offensive speech. And I get offended by some things, but you know what? People have a right to say them. And on Alan Weiner's radio stations, you'll find that some things not everybody's going to agree with. I think a lot of people are going to disagree. Most prominently, he has people who talk about a lot of conspiracy theories and, really ugly stuff. But I think that under the First Amendment, he has a right to say them. At the same time, there are, some people have raised concerns. So this is an open letter he wrote on the short waves. He says, an open letter from Alan Weiner. Dear devoted radio folks, I write this memo out of total frustration with my government, pertaining specifically to the FCC. About 1 year ago, I tendered an application to purchase WHRI, which is a religious broadcaster, World Harvest Radio International shortwave radio in South Carolina, USA, to add to the family of WBCQ free speech radio stations. Since then, the FCC has refused to act and grant me my request to purchase the station. Normally, this request would take around 6 weeks to process. Repeated attempts to communicate with the FCC and its personnel have gone unanswered. Sounds familiar, doesn't it? Both by me and my FCC attorney. As a long-time shortwave broadcaster, I do not understand why the big holdup. I'm an American citizen and have the right to buy a radio station. My attorney has suggested that this has gone beyond just a processing delay and that the FCC is against me broadcasting religious content on the radio. We'll get to that in a second. This is directly against my First Amendment constitutional rights. I'm doing all that I can to preserve free speech on the radio airwaves. I'm reaching out to you public conveyors of radio truth to let the radio enthusiasts know about this and ask for your help in getting the FCC to grant my request to purchase WHRI, not only for the sake of free speech radio, but to save these great stations from the scrapyard and keep shortwave radio alive for future generations. And he gives his phone number and such. And of course, angry people have got to reply and such like that. But you want to know something? I think he has a point in terms of the timeliness of the FCC. He is going to, run into a lot of things. I mean, particularly with my insight into FCC issues, the FCC has kind of been under the gun with the whole, situation last year where they've had basically kind of like nobody was in the offices and they're just returning to the offices. A number of amateur things got held up too. That could have been part of it. But there are a number of things that have been going on there that has been kind of, playing into it. There are accusations that his quote-unquote religious content, and I'll show you, well, I probably wouldn't show you, but basically he built a 500 kilowatt transmitter, and it was funded actually by an individual or a group of people, a church or some religious organization, and I use that term loosely, that believes that the Bible says that the earth is flat, which, on its face really doesn't make sense, but that is their kind of their whole thing. But nonetheless, they somehow got the money to build a not 5,000, not 50,000, 500,000 watt radio station. And I'm going to show you this antenna because this thing is humongous. You might have seen it, but it's immense, right? And let's see. The Earth is only 6,000 years old. Yeah, sure. Let's see here. WBCQ transmitter. Is that the one? No. Here it is. This is the kind of antenna they bought. They bought it from a company named Ampegon. I hope I pronounced that correctly. They build these big steerable antennas. These are basically big stacks of dipoles on rotatable arrays. I actually worked one of the radio amateurs who works for the company years ago on CW when he was building it for the Voice of Nigeria. He was building a big antenna like this. And it was basically, it's, you know, the size of this thing. And the person I worked was Bodo. I believe he was DL3 OCH. I worked him at that time. He was 5N0 OCH at that time. And Bodo, you know, he had a strong signal. He used the antennas of the station in Nigeria, and he plugged in his shortwave, you know, his ham radio transmitter and used that, you know. So, you know, it's kind of funny that it's like, you know, you would picture this kind of antenna being bought by governments for their propaganda machines and whatever, and then suddenly this group comes along and buys a 500 kilowatt transmitter. But anyway, that's one item in the news. Like I said, I'm not taking an opinion on it, but just thought that was kind of funny. I honestly didn't know that Alan Weiner had wanted to buy WHRI. I remember listening to them. I think they're in Cypress Creek, South Carolina, and they're primarily religious programming. When I was early in the shortwave hobby, I used to listen to a lot of you know, these broadcasters. So a lot of these religious broadcasters, they also sell airtime to various people, and you listen to a lot of these talk shows. And me as a non-American, I actually kind of like, you know, got a feel for some of the things, and you know, some of the things these people say are kind of really interesting. Anyway, so that's one news item. The next news item comes from none other than my friend Lynn Holcomb, NI4Y. Now, Lynn has kind of hinted this to me, and he told me that how he applied for an experimental radio license to operate on not 6, not 2, not 10, on the 4-meter band. Not 4 meter, not even the 4-meter band, to operate on the 8-meter band at 40 megahertz. This has been the home of, it's basically a very lightly used piece of spectrum now, because normally it would be used by public safety entities and other government users and such like that. And Lynn got, you know, he got an experimental license to operate on those frequencies. Now, my other friend, Michelle Bradley, KU3N, I believe she filed a petition with the FCC for us to get a band on the 8-meter band, because of all countries, Ireland recently authorized operations on that band. So let me bring up this blog post here from EI7GL, and I'll show you exactly what's been happening with this. So let's see here. There we go. Right. So U.S. experimental 40 megahertz station WL2XUP, because you know they have an X in them, is heard across the Atlantic in England. You know, if you've been operating 6 meters recently, you will learn that we've been having tremendous E-skip recently. We've been having a lot of good propagation into Europe. We've been having a lot of good propagation into Japan too. It's been simply amazing. So he puts up a station on 40 megahertz on the 8-meter band, and this thing is heard in England. Amazing, on 22nd of July. And you can see this here. On the 18th of July, I had a post up about the new U.S. experimental stations. Let's go back to this here. Right? New U.S. experimental station, WL2XUP, now operational in Georgia, near Atlanta. Right? And then Lynn Holcomb, NI4Y, reports that the station is now on the air. So he had a license to operate 40.66 to 40.7 megahertz with a maximum output of 400 watts ERP. And the license was issued on the 17th of June and lasts until the 1st of July 2023. And it says he's using Whisper, which is pretty cool. So if you use Whisper, it's a weak signal propagation report. It's kind of a beacon. And he has been kind of plotting propagation. But what to expect? The band is affected by several propagation modes. Let's have a look at them. Tropo, so that's tropospheric propagation. You'll likely have a range of 200 kilometers locally, but it's unlikely that there'll be many listening to that in that small area. Sporadic E, this will be the main propagation mode from April to August every year, and it will be heard all over the eastern half of the United States. So I kind of been listening out for him off and on, but I need to make a better effort to listen to him. The map above shows a likely range being in the range of 500 kilometers to 2,200 kilometers. The most consistent signal should be in the 1,200 to 1,800 kilometer range. In terms of double hop sporadic E, there may be a skip zone going from Arizona to Montana, but anyone in California to Washington should get signals in June and July. The one issue for the Western states may be interference from SNOWTEL. So you see, there is a government user, SNOWTEL. They basically, they actually use meteor scatter to report, I believe, snowpack and other environmental conditions. Transequatorial propagation, F2 propagation. We have the rising solar cycle. So this is pretty cool stuff. And then flash back to this now, where it's actually heard in England by Gulf 7 PUV. So that's pretty cool. That's pretty interesting. So the analysis, as NI4Y points out, this was very likely to be multi-hop sporadic E opening across the North Atlantic with maybe 3 to 4 hops involved. What is significant about this reception report is not so much about the distance, but the fact that this is the first crossing of the Atlantic on the 40 megahertz band. The new experimental 40 megahertz station has already sparked some interest in the 8-meter band in North America, so hopefully it'll encourage activity in the band. That's way cool. I wonder if I could join him in those experiments. That'll be pretty cool. It's pretty interesting, those piece of news items, but there is more actually. And we don't discriminate against radio services here. We talk about all sorts of radio, but it's really interesting to see experimentation in these bands that are not just amateur radio bands. And I think it's good that people are taking up the torch and they're experimenting, and that people are looking to find new ways to play radio and to still engage in radio science, because radio science is a big part of our basis and purpose, right? And so the final piece of news actually has to do with if you are a purveyor of CB radio and FRS radios, right? So, CB radio has been much maligned and has a lot of people, naysayers, are saying that CB radio is, it's worthless and stuff like that. I don't see it that way. I think that there is a certain element in CB radio that might be kind of, they might be misbehaving a little bit. But for the most, there are people who legitimately use CB radios, like truckers and such like that. But there are some proposed changes here that I will talk about. And I will, let's see here. Yes. So yes, somebody jumped the gun. All right, so the FCC is going to consider changes to Part 95 rules. So the big two changes for this, one of them is that it'll allow FM mode on CB radio. So in the United States, we're only allowed to have AM mode. That's amplitude modulation. That's double sideband AM. That's like what you hear on the AM broadcast band that plays sports talk radio and political talk radio and ethnic radio and all this other stuff. Well, they're still using AM. But now you're going to have FM modulation available, frequency modulation, FM, which I think kind of, some people say it's a square peg in a round hole. But in reality, it's really not, because I think with regards to FM, there are some legit use cases, and it might help bring some of CB back into its intended use case, believe it or not. So initially CB was originally supposed to be on the UHF band, right? Like GMRS and FRS. But it then changed to actually be on the 27 megahertz band due to the prohibitive cost of equipment. And then, of course, with Skip and DX and all of that stuff, and, the rest is history. I mean, nobody really obeys those rules. So the FCC relaxed those rules. The FCC is now actually considering changing these rules. And what's interesting is that these are actually not just first-time petitions. They're petitions for reconsideration. So they've been filed before, rejected by the FCC, and then the FCC is now reconsidering them. The FM petition actually is on behalf of Cobra. So Cobra, who makes CB radio equipment, they actually said, well, let's have FM. And FM is a pretty it has its good and bad. For one, FM will allow better use of technologies like squelch. So you can have basically where the radio is, there's more of a cliff on FM. So once you're past a certain point in signal readability, it'll go straight down and it'll be not intelligible anymore. It will just disappear. And that could give it more ability to use squelch, right? So squelch, where the radio stays quiet until it detects a signal, is much more usable on FM than it is on AM, and definitely on single sideband. That is the big advantage. So now you can actually have FM being used for local communications. The problem is that now you have all these people on AM and you have all these people on FM, and the AM people might hear the FM people, the FM people might not hear the AM people, or one or the other, and then what's going to happen is they're probably going to interfere with each other, and it's going to be a big mess, a bigger one than it already is. So that is a double-edged sword. And, people are saying, some people are of the impression that, well, all CB radios are going to FM, which is simply not true. I think that AM radios are still going to remain as a low-cost option. Single sideband is going to remain because of its distance advantage, because the FCC is kind of like, getting away from policing. I think they officially changed a rule where you're no longer restricted from working DX on a radio. You're not restricted from working distance stations. So that could kind of play into it. So the commission is considering granting 3 petitions of reconsideration to Part 95 rules, right? And the changes would allow FM to be used as an optional modulation scheme with, and it would allow automatic or periodic location and data transmissions on GMRS and FRS. Now, I'll tell you something. If you are somebody who uses this on off-road, right? And I kind of see where the FCC is heading to this. If you use this GMRS and FRS on off-road, like you use it, you're part of a Jeep club or an off-road club, or you're hiking or whatever, having location capability is a pretty big deal, because then you can have everybody's radios, marking where they are and, being able to beacon where they are, rather than just having to do it via voice. So it might enhance safety, where you have off-roaders are going to basically able to, plot each other on a map, just like APRS on ham radio, and APRS on ham radio is very useful. I kind of see a trend. I kind of want to call it out, but I don't really want to call it out. I think the FCC is kind of like coming to the realization that, there is a certain segment of the population that wants to have access to different radio technologies and radio services, but really doesn't want to get a ham license, or maybe they want to get an amateur radio license, and maybe they just want to have the capability. So the FCC sees an opportunity. For amateur radio, they raised a fee, which was by Ray Baum's Act. That was by statute. But in doing so, they also lowered the fee for GMRS licenses. And that, by the way, that seems like it's totally up in the air right now because the FCC is talking about a long delay for implementation. But now you have these technologies being introduced to GMRS and FRS, which seems pretty interesting if you ask me. So anyway, those are some big items here in the news. On the other news front, I mean, we've had some, I was really hoping Kat could be here, but she's coming. So, as you know, we have a lot of stuff with this whole health situation unfolding, and you have some states are being hit hard by this new variant or whatever. And Huntsville Hamfest is coming up. I'll be at Huntsville. But one thing that will not be is the Young Ham of the Year award. They actually decided to not hold the award ceremony at the Hamfest because they're a little concerned. And you know what? Rightfully so. I mean, it's their choice, to take to determine their risks. So the Hamfest is still going on as far as I know. And, my plans haven't really changed. So I'm going to be there. Excuse me. The 4th anniversary of FT8. So I'm going to be doing a whole video on FT8. My experience with FT8 as an early tester of FT8, testing Fox and Hound mode. Joe Taylor is actually going to be doing a speech at one of my conventions here in the division. Actually, in where are we having it? In Newburgh. We're going to have a luncheon. And Joe is actually going to give a presentation on that. So it's pretty cool. Last time I saw Joe was at 4U1UN, and we had a great time operating there. He did the first ever FTA transmissions from 4U1UN, and that was pretty cool. So from the ARRL, there are stations to celebrate the 4th anniversary of FT8. From August 2nd to 15th, they're going to have the FT Digital Mode Club, FTDMC. They're actually going to start celebrating the 4th anniversary of FT8. And they're actually going to have special event stations from different countries. So here in the US, it's a little difficult. We don't really have the ability to have nice call signs. Like, you see a lot of these European countries, they have like nice special event call signs. Like I think the first ever special event call I worked in Europe was a Delta Radio 2006, and then they had letters to celebrate the Soccer World Cup in Germany. And we don't have that here. I think the only one that we got an exception for was for the 100th anniversary of ARRL. And what I was told by them is that, that took an act of Congress to do. So, we have these 1x1 call signs. We can attach suffixes and stuff like that. But you'll see 4J8 FTDM, OZ8 FTDMC. That's from Oscar Zulu from, I believe, Denmark. RO3 FTDM from Russia. 9 Kilo 8 FTDMC from Kuwait. Alpha 60 FTDMC from Qatar. Delta Quebec 8 FTDMC from Germany. Golf Bravo 0 DMC from England, the UK. Hotel Zulu 8 FTDMC from Saudi Arabia, and many others. So we'll see how it's going. So this came from the ARRL courtesy of the Daily DX. So that's pretty interesting. All right, and that is the news. And we're going to talk a little bit about something a little different. So I've actually been very much into alternative energy and solar power for preparation. And a company called EcoFlow has been letting me test one of their new units. I'm not going to talk fully about this, but so basically what they have is a new system of home batteries called the EcoFlow Delta Pro, which is a 3.6 kilowatt hour battery. And it comes with a whole bunch of different methods to connect your home, to connect to your RV and such like that. And they even give you a little Bluetooth remote here. So I have a pre-production model. of it in Shack. I'm going to be doing a full rundown, including an electromagnetic compatibility test, because I'm a ham and I want to make sure this thing doesn't blow me off the air. And I can tell you that initial tests have been really stellar. I've had, some of their earlier units had problems with RFI. I have one of their units here. This is a EcoFlow River Pro, which is the first one that I ever bought from them. And it actually helped us, through some of the thunderstorms recently. So Mahima, who is a sweet child of mine, she asks, how heavy is the Delta Pro? It's 100 pounds, but it comes with wheels and it comes with a handle. Okay. Todd W86DWF. How big is it in terms of kilowatt hours? It's 3.6 kilowatt hours. I'm actually getting 2 of them, and they'll run 7.2 kilowatt hours, and I'll probably get some expansion batteries as well, which will get me all the way up to 21 kilowatt hours. And the thing is, compared to Tesla Powerwall or something like that, this is portable, meaning that I can have it. So Todd might be a little confused here, because the battery I held up, this battery is not the 3.6 kilowatt hour. This one is 720 watt hours, 0.7 kilowatt hours. The big one I have down on the ground, where I can't move the camera to see it, but I'll show a picture of it, is it is 100 pounds and it comes on wheels, right? So it's kind of like, that one is a portable home battery. The River Pro, which is the 720 watt hour, is one that you carry with you camping. That one, I've had a few little RFI issues that I'm trying to sort out with them. I have another one called the River Max. I have the Delta, which is a 1.3 kilowatt hour battery, and I could charge with solar using an MPPT controller and everything, and it's an all-in-one. You can do this DIY with your batteries and your MPPT solar controller and an inverter, but this is an all-in-one unit. It's prepackaged. You just pick it up, carry it up, you plug it into the wall to charge, no problem. And I will show you exactly what I'm talking about here in just a moment. Yeah. Yeah, no, trust me. I had to huff and puff to bring this up the stairs. Okay? So, Todd, yeah, I hear you, buddy. Okay? No. This is not, I don't know. I'm not going to to go there. All right, let me show you this, and I see my partner in crime will be here shortly. All right. Okay.
Hey.
Hi, Kat. How are you?
Good. I'm your partner in crime, huh?
I can't hear
What
you.
crime are we committing?
Okay. Yeah, my okay, let's see here. Must be on my end, because I can't hear either.
You can't hear me?
Internal speakers. There we go. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Can I hear you?
Yeah. You should.
I don't know. Can I hear you?
Can you hear me?
Anything?
I hear you. Can you hear me?
Kat?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here.
Yeah. You know what? Yeah, for some reason I can't hear it. Let me see this. All right. Speaker.
Can everybody else hear me?
All right. So now I can hear you. Okay. You know what? It's my speakers, and you know what? It's frustrating. And then I bet if I do this, and I change to internal speakers, and I know what, I was on mute. Okay. So, this is like the Zoom curse, right? Of 2020 and 2021. You know what I mean? Yeah. So anyway, so how's it going? What's going on?
Nothing much. going on a trip tomorrow with the boys, so that's gonna be fun. I'm leaving
Awesome.
at 10.
Yeah. So let me just show them the battery, and then we're going to continue, right? So
Yeah, that's perfectly fine.
yeah. So I'm going to show you guys. Yeah. So I'm going to have a whole video on this here. So you notice this could connect to your RV. This could connect to your home, and it actually comes. There's a unit called a smart home panel, which could connect to your house. And 3.6 to 25 kilowatt hours. I'm probably going to get up to 21 kilowatt hours because 25 kilowatt hours involves a generator, and I already have a generator. And they tell you how much it could go. So yeah, if you check it out at ecoflow.com, I'll have a link below for you to to get in on the Kickstarter if that is if you're ready, if you want to get one.
Uh-oh, what happened? All right, Rhea is gone. How is everybody? Hold on for a second. No, it's an inverter type. Not for sure. Hey, Cola Games, how are you? Yeah, we lost Rhea. I know I have the floor, Mike. I do. I've not been able to do any of my videos because it's been raining. It's been a monsoon. So that's what's going on with me. Hey, Robert, how are you? I can't click anybody because she's got control over everything. So guess it's my show now. All right. Battery. Yeah, laptop froze is what she said. So no, she didn't drop it on her toe. She did not drop it on her toe. As soon as I get off here, I'm going to eat. And I got things to do because I've got to definitely, yeah, laptop died. I've got to get packing. I have not packed. I am very bad about packing last minute. Yeah. So, for everybody who doesn't know, I had mentioned this last week. Who can remember what I said last week? What today was? Who was watching?
All right.
Hey, you're
Yeah.
back.
Yeah, no, my laptop, Sonny, it froze up. I don't know what happened, but it just froze. That's really weird, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So anyway, so yeah, how's it going? What's
Good.
going on?
Good. I had to renew my driver's license.
You had to renew your drive.
You froze up again. I'm echoing. I don't know how I'm echoing. I don't have anything to echo with.
Okay.
It's got to be her side.
Yeah. Okay.
You
All right.
froze.
That should stop echoing now.
Okay.
Yeah. This whole thing is like new to me. I don't really use StreamYard, but I'll try it out, I guess.
I guess it works.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now I had to renew my driver's license.
And this evening, it's like I had no idea they open that late in Alabama. I'm like, here in New Jersey, they tell you come before 4, or they're just going to close.
Oh no, they're like open. But I didn't renew it today. I renewed it yesterday, and it was actually really quick, easy, and simple.
Wow.
Yeah, and it was actually the best driver's license picture I've had to date. All my other ones look like a mugshot.
Right. Okay. You want to know a funny driver's license story? Okay.
Okay.
I don't know what happened.
All right, you're muted. Unmute yourself.
Okay. No. But anyway, so this is silly. I'm totally gonna watch a replay on this. I think we should be stable now though.
Hopefully.
Yeah. No, but the funny thing is so I ended up like one time I had to get my driver's, so I carry a passport card too, right? Because you never know if you're gonna just go to Canada, okay? But I use that as my primary ID, but all kidding aside, I use that as my primary ID because it doesn't have my mailing address, it doesn't have my home address on it, right?
Right.
And so the passport card is it's a wallet-sized card, or you stick down your purse and you just carry it out with you. But I was looking specifically for my driver's license because I blew a stop sign in one of these small towns that's been hurting after the pandemic for revenue. And, they pulled people over for all sorts of little things. They pulled me for blowing a stop sign, allegedly blowing a stop sign. And then I actually looked for and said, wait a minute, I don't have my driver's license.
Come on, baby.
And then what happened is the officer ended up writing me a ticket for not having a driver's license. But the thing is, he actually wrote it for driving without a license, which is like a serious offense, And that's my funny driver's license story, but it gets better. So, I went to court, right, on Zoom, right? And the judge really likes the power trip. So he told everybody, and he kept everybody waiting. And then I ended up paying court costs of like $30 or something like that because I did actually have a driver's license. What I did was prior to the court date, I went to motor vehicles online and ordered a duplicate, and got it. It was like $11 and came in the mail. So I got the duplicate license, right? And then I go to, court and everything. And then, I have my duplicate license. This new license that New Jersey had that totally looks like a fake ID. Okay. It has all sorts of flashy holograms and all other sorts of stuff on it. Well, lo and behold, like 2 weeks later, in my informed delivery emails in my mailbox, because now you can get the post office to email you pictures of the mail that's coming to you, right? The envelope.
Yeah, I got that set up.
Right. So I get that for my PO box, but I also get that for my my regular mail at home. And I see an envelope from Kohl's, okay? And I'm like, I haven't been to Kohl's in a long time. I think the last time I was there was to return an Amazon package. Oh, okay. I got home, I opened the envelope, and there's my driver's license. So I totally ended up losing it at Kohl's, okay? And then some of the employees mailed it back to me. I probably showed it to return a package or something like that, where I didn't have a receipt or something.
Oh, I've got one.
Yeah.
You'll laugh. So it was back when the boys were little.
Yeah.
And they and I had my wallet, and somehow, some way, my wallet ended up in my kid's backpack, and I didn't even notice. Mm-hmm. So I took him to school and everything, and I go to lunch, and I realize I don't have my wallet. Mm-hmm. I was about to go to lunch, and I was like, I don't have my wallet. Where's my wallet at? Right. So I am scrambling, trying to find the wallet at the house. And I couldn't find it. And I was like, it's got to be, maybe it fell in one of their backpacks. Maybe, just maybe it did. So, so I was like, okay. And then I was like, well, what if it didn't? What if I actually lost it? What if I I was in the car and I got out and I dropped it off, and I dropped it out to school when I was taking them up to the front. And I was like, right. What did that? Maybe, I don't know. I don't remember. So here I am scrambling. I call, I cancel all my cards. And I kid you not, I go to the bank and I go to the branch that knows me, so I can actually get cash out of my account. And so the kids get home. I go to open up their backpack. My wallet was in their backpack.
Yeah.
And I just canceled all my cards
Okay.
to get new ones.
that was today?
No, this is like back when they were like 5.
Oh, okay. I'm like, okay. Wow.
This is back when I had to take them up to the school and drop them off to the door.
Wow.
Yeah. So
That's crazy. Yeah, I had an incident once where I lost a bunch of cards. I think I just lost them. I just couldn't find them. They weren't, I don't know if they were home or they fell out somewhere. And then I just so I have a service that I actually use to just reorder all my cards, and it kind of just came in the mail. So I see Mahima here saying something.
I lost my wallet and found it 5 years later, 2.5 weeks ago. That's a good story.
So let me ask you a question, and this might be related to something we're doing tonight.
Okay.
How's the studying going for your general?
Okay.
Okay. No,
Maybe.
I'm just curious.
It's going all right.
All right, good.
It's going okay.
I'm gonna help you pass.
Oh, you're gonna help me pass.
Yeah.
You hear
Absolutely.
this? He's gonna help me pass. All right.
Yeah. Well, we'll figure out something. I was thinking of having a segment on the show where I give you one question or a few questions. You get to prepare like maybe a day or two before, and then you come on the show and you answer them.
Okay. So basically, you're giving me like homework.
Right.
And then I learn them, and then I answer them when I come on.
Okay. You have Mike here, and that means she's not studying.
You think he knows me or something? I swear.
He's bad.
He is bad. I mean, I know I'm a procrastinator. Dang. Call me out like that? Shots fired, I guess.
So you got a challenge actually from Mahima. She wants to do the same thing. So Mahima is daughter number 1. And her sister's upstairs, probably not watching this live stream, but she is. Oh, she's probably watching. She wants to do the same thing. So you know what? I'll probably have her do it too. But I have to figure out how to do it. Make sure she's not too shy. I'm not shy. Yeah. So anyway, yeah. So I'll give you a recap of the news. I don't want to rehash it, but I'm interested in your thoughts on this. There are 3 bits of news. One of them was my friend, actually, Lynn, NI4Y. He's actually operating an experimental license for a new amateur radio band, right? So, you have 6 meters, you have 2 meters, you have 10 meters and such like that, right? And there's this big space in between 10 and 6, right? There's like this huge space. In between, there's 8-meter band, okay? And Lynn has been experimenting with that with an FCC license. How cool is that?
What is the soccer ball? That's cool. That's really cool.
Yeah. I don't know if we'll actually see an allocation to that because the government uses a lot of those frequencies. But then again, we got 60 meters, which the government has been using. So, So anyway, so tell us more about your preparations for Huntsville. How's it coming along?
My preparations for Huntsville?
Yeah.
Everything's going along fine. I don't know what else I can prep for other than just showing my happy butt up and getting my stuff. I mean, of course, I'm going to be a procrastinating packer and pack the night before. That's when I went for my trip for 4 days. I packed that. Well, technically, I packed that morning.
Mm-hmm.
My flight was. My flight wasn't until after that afternoon. So
yeah. I have to pull out the trip suitcase out the closet and then pack stuff in there. I mean, there's one I keep for trips specifically versus just driving around, because this is a tip I got from a friend, right? Because I do stuff besides ham radio that involves constitutional rights and stuff like that. And sometimes you go domestically to those places and you might have remnants of those things in your bag. And what happens is if those end up on an airplane, you can get in trouble. So I have to pull my special suitcase that I use for air travel out the closet, pack it up, and then, I don't know what I'm doing at Huntsville. I mean, I'm going to hang out. I heard there's usually some DX and contest related thing that I might go to. I usually do that for HamCom, which is in Texas. And usually I'm just like busy hanging out with people. I don't know if Emmett W0QH might be there. He's usually there. He'll show you around MCOM 1, which is like their they have like a van wrapped in like ICOM, and they have all these radios in there. It's so cool, and it's not just ham radios. It has like public safety radios and everything.
Right.
So so I'm seeing a couple new faces here. If you're new to the channel, why don't you could probably hit us a like and subscribe. And remember, this show is going on 2 channels. It's going on Kat's channel, which is DixieDX, and it's going on my channel, which is Rhea Shack Ham Radio. So,
So back to my amazingly awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Let me find something. Give me a second. Sitting here. Oh, here we go. Here is my new driver's license ID.
It's black and white.
Well, it's temporary. So
okay.
It looks really good though, black and white. They might want to keep it that way. Okay.
New York makes theirs black and white now. I don't know why.
Here is my next one, which is awful. Awful. Like a mugshot. Hold on. It gets better. It gets better. Look. I got a deer in the headlight. Look at this one.
Oh my God.
Okay. There is a story about this one. Okay.
Yeah.
I lost my license and I found it later. Anyway, the story is this, and you're gonna laugh. They had one of these kiosks at the DMV.
Right.
They said that you just go up, scan your, type in your information. I think now I can take it back. That was a renewal. It had to be a renewal. Yeah. That was a renewal. So anyway, long story short, I went up there to renew my license. Mm-hmm. Well, they had the kiosk thing and they had the little blue screen behind you. And I did all that, scanned my license, did all that kind of fancy stuff.
Right.
And then it turned around and it actually, this is funny. It actually just sat there and just took it and without a countdown or anything. And so I couldn't retake it. So I was like, oh, that was an awful, looked like a deer in the headlights look. I laughed about it. But yeah, it was one of the kiosk things.
This is a 3.6 kilowatt hour battery. Oops. My thing is like, this computer is crazy. I'm probably going to set up a dedicated streaming computer because this one is like, it's my laptop that I have. I might have it in church doing something. I might have it, for work. Well, not for work. Work, they give me a secure laptop or some other place, client work or something. And it just has all sorts of software and it might just go into a tailspin. So this cup here is like the old school Flex Radio cup, right?
Uh-huh.
And this one, you see like the kids here, not my kids, but this is a stock photo.
Back it up a little bit. It's too... It's not like there you go. There it's focused.
They have like these Pastafarian colanders on their heads, that says rediscover radio. Okay, and they're doing some things. But this one, I got this back in like 2017 when they sent us like an appreciation gift for when I became a Flex Radio Elmer. Now I have so many collectible cups. I think I'll probably do a video on some of them. I have from canceled DXpeditions. I have from successful DXpeditions. I have from radio clubs. I have from Last Man Standing. I see my son here. He has one from 3Y0Z, which is a canceled DXpedition to Bouvet Island. And I have a whole collection of cups. I have one from Wild Horse Saloon in Nashville when I used to work in Nashville years ago.
Ah, I actually
Hmm.
had a beer glass from Wild Horse Saloon.
Oh,
And
wow.
I had I might still have the beer glass. I think I do. But I had another glass that I think was more of a margarita glass, or it was a margarita glass.
Okay.
And I don't know what happened to that glass. No telling
Right.
what happened to that glass. But I no longer have that one. But I do have the beer glass.
Okay. That's interesting.
But I
I
did
think,
go.
was
I
yours
saw.
like frosty? Or was it like a mug? Was it like a beer mug or was it just a glass? It's like frosted.
It was like a beer. The beer glass was just a beer glass.
Okay.
The margarita one was more like the mug.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And Wild Horse, I saw Sister Hazel, and at the time, a band called Telluride,
Okay.
and I think the other one was Buck Cherry was the other one.
Hmm.
So yeah, and Telluride is now Adam Craig Band, and they open up a lot
Okay.
for Luke Bryan. So
Yeah. My battery on this camera is going to die soon, so I'll change it out. But it's
Mike wants to know if we have any cat cups.
cat cups.
No, I have a Tasmanian Devil cup with Taz
Yeah.
on it.
One of the fabulous companies that makes. Okay, yeah, they're good. They're good. They're actually Flex is good. Real Shack Hammer. Do you have? I don't. You know what? Let's see who said that. Who said that?
I did.
Oh, do you have? So my daughter's egging me on to make merchandise, and I actually have a plan to make some merchandise soon. And I'll probably have some giveaways on the channel of some of these merch that's coming up. So stay tuned for that. Not tonight though, but
But didn't you have one with your call sign on it?
you know what? I do.
I couldn't find it when I was looking.
Really?
Yeah.
She said I had one with my call sign. I couldn't find it. But you know what? No, that was a gift from a radio club. Okay? And I've had all sorts of weird gifts from radio clubs. I've had mugs, I've had shirts. One guy made me a belt. Okay?
Made you a belt, huh?
A belt, a leather belt. I think it was like, intended to be like the new sheriff in town. No. Ria's the new sheriff in town. So yeah.
Goodness.
What else? Somebody else made me a bag. So it's really cool, but I like all these radio clubs. They definitely I made a joke. I said they clothe me, they feed me, and they make sure I'm not thirsty. And this weekend I'm going to a club picnic, taking the kids out to the Orange County Amateur Radio Club. It's in some park on the Hudson River. They're a really nice club, But I like all the clubs. They're very cool and interesting to work with, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So yeah, but what else? What other swag I got? I got a bottle opener from one club. I got somebody said they would make me something. I forgot what it was. But no, the belt I think was the most interesting one.
That is very interesting.
Yeah.
I had somebody at one point. They did like I think he was from the UK or something. He did my name and my call sign, but it was my
Uh-huh.
old call sign. So, but
So
he had
this,
a little image of it. It was really cute.
so this battery is not 100 pounds. Okay. Somebody said,
What's the
want
Rita
to-
throw a 100-pound battery overhead? What is the heaviest battery you have lifted?
yeah.
The heaviest battery I have lifted is one out of a vehicle. Those are heavy as crap. And
Yeah.
plus side, I was at least 4 or 5 months pregnant.
Wow. And you lifted that up.
Yeah.
Why did you have to do that?
I don't remember.
Okay.
Probably had to change it or something.
Okay. Huh. And that reminds me of when my mom was working one time and her battery died. She was working at a hospital. She was a nurse,
Mm-hmm.
and then the battery in her truck died, and then my aunt came with her car, and she lifted the battery out of the car and put it in my aunt's and put my aunt's battery in, because we didn't have jumper cables, right? So an old trick we used to do was we used to take out the battery out of one vehicle while one person holds the battery cables and revs the engine, and then you swap the battery with the dead one, or something like that, But I think what happened is we made a wrong connection and the battery exploded.
Oh my goodness.
I know. And my dad had to bring a battery to save us all. Yeah. That was something else. That's something, it's kind of vivid in your memory, right? I can't remember how old I was. I was like maybe 10 or 12. But no, it's like, yeah, I met my mom at the hospital, and then, we were ready to go home, and the truck wouldn't start. And then it's like, well, okay. My aunt came with her car, the battery. Instead of using jumper cables, we'd swap the battery in that kind of. No, but I mean, back then it was like real interesting because that truck was a manual transmission. She could have just had somebody push it and then go down the hill and pop the clutch and start it, But yeah.
I think your daughter said something about she got rickrolled by the news today.
She got Rick.
Yeah, when we were in the car earlier, the news was on, and it started playing "Never Gonna Give You Up" because that video hit 1 billion views today.
Oh, Rick roll. So apparently the Rick Astley video hit 1 billion views today.
Mm-hmm.
How much money they made on AdSense on that thing?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
There's no ads in that video. It's a music video.
So we have somebody who says, what is Rickrolled? Never heard of that before. Okay. So there's a song by Rick Astley, who's I think he's from like 1980s or something. Never Gonna Give You Up or something like that, right? And then
I'm never gonna give you up, never let you down.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's a nice song. I like the song. The problem is that's become such an internet joke. I mean, you tell people how you're going to send them to one website, and you use like a URL shortener like Bitly, right? Where you send person to a link and say, here, go to this website, right? Like somebody asks, say, can you give me like, a link to buy something on Amazon, right? And then somebody as a prank, sends you a link to Rickroll. I feel my battery's gonna die soon, but on the camera. And then it goes to that Rick Astley video. And I don't get why it's so funny. It's just, it just become like this internet meme that would just never die.
Guess who just started a live at 9:00 about nothing?
A what?
Yeah, somebody just started a live stream about nothing.
So hold on, guys. Shh. Started what?
A live stream about nothing. Guess who just started their live stream about nothing?
Mike?
Yes.
What? Are you trying to compete with us?
Yes. He got so jealous of us, beautiful ladies.
Well, why is he jealous of us?
Go on there and be like his badass self and be like,
come on. Well, we're fun anyway. And he's probably he's probably trying to tailgate on our success. We have 34 people watching right now, which is not that bad.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's kind of funny.
So what else is going on in Cat's world?
What's going on in Cat's world?
Yeah.
Well, today I got 2 cakes.
Mm-hmm.
Two cakes at work.
Right.
One was what everybody ate, and then the one I got that I brought home. I got a video game.
Right.
From an admirer.
Okay.
Yeah. That was nice.
A video game. What kind of video game was it?
Mortal Kombat Ultimate.
Wow. Okay. There goes my battery.
And then I got a card from everybody at work that signed it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got a card from my ex.
Oh. Well, I guess some things are just, I don't know.
I thought it was kind of weird. Very weird. Very weird. Considering the fact that, well, that was just weird.
Right.
Let's see here.
Okay.
Maybe maybe I should have sent him a song or something about
Yeah.
weird.
Right. So one of the questions we get asked often, and I think somebody just asked it again, is what other hobbies do you have other than amateur radio?
What other hobbies you have or I have?
Well, I think you should answer that this time.
Oh, what other hobbies I have besides ham radio? Really and truly, I do video game. I play video games, but with the kids and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That's really not a hobby, in my opinion. That's just me playing for fun.
Right. So, what sort of video games do you play? You play vintage video games or like new ones?
Assassin's Creed. I play Mortal Kombat. I used to play Doom and Unreal back in the day. Let's see here. That's really about it. As far as if I wanted to play model trains, like Todd is saying,
right.
I have model trains. They're my dad's model trains, but I don't play with those. My dad's got a telescope downstairs that's mine, but I haven't gotten that out because it's big and humongous, and I don't know how to operate it, so I've got to do that.
Okay.
So really and truly, ham radio is really my hobby, and everything else is just me having fun.
Well, let me flash on the screen what my son and my daughters have been trying to get me into.
Roblox?
Roblox.
No.
No, Mahi, it's fun, okay? It is fun. No, but it's mostly my son, okay? And he loves the Roblox a lot, okay? And I don't mind because I guess it teaches you how to code and stuff too. Minecraft too.
I've got a question.
What's
Don't
up?
do it.
Is Wii Sports and Mario Kart technically vintage?
Am I technically old? That's what you're saying.
No.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Would yes. What you consider a hobby? Like I can't. I tried crocheting once. Totally screwed it up. Couldn't do it. Got frustrated. So I gave it all to my friend.
Yeah.
Let's see here. I like to troll people sometimes because that's fun.
This Minecraft, and then Adi, my son, he says, does Minecraft count as a vintage game?
It came out in like 2010.
Yeah, and that's such a long time, right? You guys were born in 2010.
Yeah. No, it came out in 2010.
Are they twins?
Almost 11 years old.
They're saying Minecraft's over 11 years old. Okay, so my hobbies, right? Fishing. You know what? I used to like fishing, with an F, not with a PH. But
question. Is makeup considered a hobby?
If you're an enthusiast, yeah.
I'm a makeup enthusiast, so there's my other hobby. I do makeup. You want to know about makeup? I do makeup.
I do it occasionally.
I used to work for Bare Minerals back in the day.
I was Sephora VIB for like a few years, and then I just kind of last year just totally blew my habit out. Like I've been, like every other week I'd either be to Sephora or Ulta. So like that's something, it's kind of depressing because I used to do that with my colleagues, and we used to go to like Short Hills Mall, and which is like nearby, and then we go and we get made up at lunchtime, we return to the office, and then everybody's like, wow, what's going on? And then you know, but we have like events at work and such like that. But then now, you know, there's no reason to.
I mean, I go to work, so I like to wear my makeup, and it's
Yeah,
it's crazy.
I might be heading back in September, I think. But not like, you know, full time, probably like 1 or 2 days a week. So my other hobbies, as people probably know, and some of these are not even hobbies anymore. I fly drones. Okay, everybody knows I fly drones, right? Because I tell the world I fly drones. What else do? I do photography. Of late, we've been kind of exploring the state forest. We've been kind of like tiptoeing into the forest. You know, we like nature. You know, the kids like it when we go there because there's like a big natural spring, and they get water from the natural spring, which is a lot better than, you know, it's clean water. But we have a well here, so it's like water. It's a little better than the water from the well because the water from the well has to go through so much treatment, whereas the spring water is nice. But yeah, I like that. I like sightseeing. I like travel. Do I ever like travel? I wish I could travel again. And I'm hoping to travel again.
I like hiking.
Huh?
I like to hike.
Yeah. Yeah, and you want to go back to Florida, right, Mahi? Mahi says she wants to go back to Florida.
Hey, tell her that I want to go back to Florida too. Ask her if PCB is okay. We can go to PCB.
Yeah.
I like the beach.
This is a kind of, my wife thinks I have too many radios. Your spouse thinks, well, no, because it's like, you know, we're kind of like, you know, disconnected. That's more story. Let's see, Rhea and Dixie, fantastic live chat following on. Barbados, man. You know, one of my best friends in amateur radio was a Bajan, okay, from Barbados. And I have to say, because he said, I'm from Barbados, okay? My friend Jeff, 9Y4J, he is from Barbados, and he has a lot of fantastic stories to tell because he was a radio operator at the North Post. And he used to talk to all the ships when they come in. And he told me that some of the old Russian ships still use Morse code. And this was back in like 2005, he was telling me this, you know? But, you know, that was kind of amazing that some of these Russian ships would come in and they would be banging away Morse code, and he had to talk to them in Morse code. He was hired initially to do Morse code, but now it's all like, you know, voice communications, and I think single sideband and satellites and such like that. So good one.
Yeah, radio geek. I'm not married, so I don't have that problem.
Yeah, me neither.
Goodness. No, I like Caribbean rum though. That's really good.
Yeah. So, you know, the ships at sea, you know, ships are actually a kind of important segment in ham radio because they really don't have a lot of way to communicate outside of besides amateur radio. You know, well, they have marine radio, they have satellite, which is expensive, but a lot of them they have ham radio to keep them company. So that's pretty interesting. Thanks for that, Wild Cascadia. I think Wild Cascadia, we're gonna bring her in sometime. You know, she could show, like, you know, we're gonna give her an idea. We're gonna get her a big microphone, okay, and she's gonna hide behind a microphone.
Yes, we can definitely do that. Well, I need to get off here. It was nice chatting with everybody. Because I got clothes to wash still, and I got things I got to do, and I got to get up at 4 a.m. to leave at 5 a.m. So
Robert Clancy, one last one. He is somebody I'm trying to get into amateur radio here, and you know, we could help him along. I actually found him in in one of these Facebook groups that deals with prepping and you know, off grid and stuff like that. So
my dad was a prepper, and he went and got his ham radio license. Him and his buddy Doc, they were both preppers. So
So Robert, you're welcome anytime. All right. Well, listen, thank you everybody. Next week it'll be on Kat's channel, and
we'll be at 8. We'll be at 8:30. We might pop on a little bit earlier. It's just going to be depending on a couple of things. So anyway, 73, y'all. Have a great night.
Have a great night. Take care. Bye. and end stream.